This meeting is being recorded.
Yes. Phew.
Yay.
Oh, we are on. All right. Let's see.
Cool beans.
Okay. We have liftoff. All right. I believe we are coming up. Yay.
Yay.
All right. We are here. We're just a couple of minutes behind because of technology, but nothing was going to stop this show. We were determined to give you all some good information tonight. So if you wouldn't mind, give us a couple of minutes to share, and we would love for you to share as well. Would you mind taking a moment? We really have a lot of great information for you tonight, and in order for us to share it with as many people as possible, we want to go ahead and share it now before we get started. And I just shared it to your page, Keah.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Let us know you're here. Say hello to us. I see some comments coming in already. Hey there. Hey, waving. Hi. We've got a great topic tonight because if you have any kids or if you're responsible for anybody's kids, they're home with you now. So we have something relevant for everybody almost, directly or indirectly. I think we're all affected by this. So let's tune in together. Share this out with someone. Let someone know that we're on. And give me just one more moment to share. We'd love for you to say hello to us. Go ahead and tell us what context you're sharing with us. Maybe you're a parent. Maybe you're an educator. Maybe you are a concerned citizen, just a community member, and you know how much this is affecting so many people at home, and you want to chime in. You want to become more knowledgeable. Say hello to us. Share the information. So please share. Let someone know that we're on, and let us know that you're here. And please share with us whatever context you are commenting and tuning in with us. I think I've shared all the places I wanted to share. I'm ready to get started.
Okay.
We ready, Keah? My name is Trinace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women, and we exist to create safe spaces for women to do real work on themselves, personal development work. We are really about really working on ourselves from the inside out, and we believe that if we start with us and what's going on with us, then we positively affect those around us and those we have influence over and the communities that we're in. We help women connect with each other more meaningfully. and we help them grow their personal confidence in who they are and who they're created to be. And then we help them become a catalyst of positive change in their own lives and in the lives of others. We would invite you to go to realwomenrock.org. The website is in the heading of this video. Go to realwomenrock.org to find out more information about us. And this Saturday, we have a virtual sister circle. When you go to our website, you'll find out that we have in-person sister circles in quote unquote normal times, normal seasons. But because of the season that we're in of what I'm calling hibernation, we have some virtual sister circles that we've set up so that you can connect with some real women and get an opportunity to really talk about topics that are relevant to you. And this Saturday, we're going to be talking about girl power and the fact that as women, oftentimes we may feel out of control or powerless, especially in seasons like this when things are happening beyond our control. And we want to talk about how to create, how to generate, and how to maintain your own personal power. So join us Saturday. All of that information is on our website, realwomenrock.org. It's also on our Facebook page, all of our social media pages. You can go anywhere to get that information. Tonight, we are in our what now is Wednesday night Facebook Live chats, and we give you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. Trust me, these are the kind of conversations we have here are the kind that you're having on the phone or with your family or at work. And so we want to have them together as a virtual community. So we want you to engage with us. We want you to say hello to us in the chat. We want you to ask questions because we're going to be talking about what this homeschooling thing is all about from an educator perspective and from a parent perspective during this hibernation season that we're in. And we want to know your questions. We also have some resources for you. We've already put some information in the chat, in the heading for you that would help you get those free resources, but we'll talk about more about that a little later. We really just want to jump into this conversation. And so I'm so happy because we are reunited and it feels so good. We used to do these together all the time. Keah Mason is not only a sister of mine, she's a friend, been a friend for probably over a decade, a couple of decades now. And not only that, but we get to work together in Real Women. She is a lead facilitator for our Charles County Real Women Sister Circle and an overall just active person in our community. She's active in her church. She's a speaker and an author. She's a master teacher to experience and educational experience from Keah, whether you are in her elementary classroom or whether you are in a sister circle that she facilitates. She's an excellent teacher and presenter of workshops and conferences. She's done those. And she's my sister and my friend. And so we used to do these together. So we get to do this again tonight. We were just reminiscing over that. And I'll let you say hi to them, Keah, while I'm looking at the chat.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. I'm so happy to be back. It feels kind of like I came out of retirement because I haven't done a Facebook Live in a while. So I'm just excited about tonight's topic, something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you all.
Absolutely. So some folks in the chat have said that they're sharing. Keah, Addie's here, Robin's here, Val is here, Taj is here. A lot of folks are here, and we want to jump into the topic, right? Well, just to preface, we have on our Christmas gear because this homeschool thing is real to all of us now, whether you're an educator or a parent or a concerned citizen. And so the social distance spirit week this week has had us in crazy socks, and today is Christmas in March. And so we are having some fun with this social distancing, and we'd encourage you all to find, it's fun to watch through social media how folks are dealing with the crazy. So I want to start with some questions to you, Keah, but I want to preface it by encouraging you all to put in the chat, first of all, your questions. As a parent, what questions do you have? As an educator, what questions or what advice do you have for us as parents? And then let us know if you are a parent, if you are an educator, if you're a concerned citizen. Let us know your stake in this game, right? Who you are as a stakeholder in this. I'll speak for myself. You know, I've been an educator. I still work in higher education, but I'm really kind of sitting in this conversation with you, Keah, as a parent. And I've homeschooled and more recently just put my son back in school. He's been in school no more than 3 months, 3 months now, and he's back at home. He's loving the fact that he's back at home. And so it's been an adjustment for us, but I can't imagine for those parents who have never been, you know, at home with their kids to educate them, what kind of transition it has been. So let's start with you as the educator, because those of us as parents don't even know what the difference is for you, right? So kind of, could you describe how this change has affected you and some of your coworkers as educators?
Sure, absolutely. So I just want to preface too and say that I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. I'm just here just to share just kind of my personal opinions a little bit and my personal beliefs as an educator. So no expert advice by far, but I do have some experience. Obviously, I'm a public school teacher celebrating 10 years of being a teacher this year. So what I do want to share about your question, it was a very sudden move for us. To be honest, you guys got the news before we did. I believe that Thursday there was a press conference with the governor, and there was an announcement made. We were still at work. From my school, we were in a staff meeting, and so we were there a little later than normal because that was our staff meeting day. And so we were still at school and getting messages, you know, text messages from other people about school being closed for 2 weeks. And we were like, no, we just got out of meeting. They ain't say that because,
Wow.
you know, that news had not been shared yet. And so, you know, we heard that that was happening in some districts, but, you know, we had not heard the news personally. And so it was a little bit like and oh my goodness, you know, hearing it from like a secondhand source or whatever. So it was very shocking. I left right away. I really couldn't give it much thought. I was like, I just was shocked, you know, and kind of just numb. And my only thoughts were just about Friday, how I needed to put on a brave face on Friday and just have some time with my kids. I didn't know how they were going to feel. I didn't know what they were going to think. They did not seem sad. In Charles County, we have not had much of a spring break, what seems like the last few years, other than just like Good Friday and Easter Monday. And so I think for all of us, to be honest with you, not minimizing the situation at all, but it was like, oh, okay, well, it just kind of feels like a spring break after all. And so it was kind of that thing. So leaving on Friday, we just had no idea of really what was going to happen. Some people had their speculations, and we all still do, you know, even have different opinions about what will happen going forward. But it was just like, okay, we were just trying to get through that Friday. We had no idea that we would be out for, you know, longer than the initial 2 weeks. And so I heard, you know, some people have asked me, oh, don't you feel like you're on vacation? Aren't you, you know, relaxed? No, ma'am. No, sir. You know, could everybody use a break?
Right.
Yes, but not under these circumstances at all. As an educator, when you really think about what's happening, and we're not going to spend time talking about the what is happening. We're just focusing on the fact that, you know, students are not in school. Nobody knows what that looks like, and you don't know what that feels like for students. And so as a teacher, knowing that you have a diverse group of students that have very different needs, very different backgrounds, home life and family life, it's like you don't want to be separated from them. You know, to some students, school is their safe place. And, you know, even if it's not that extreme for everybody, school is a place where everyone has access to. You know, you never imagine a time where that is shut down. You know, like we have gone through other things, you know, or times where there may have been some other, you know, restrictions or things were just different, but never school in this capacity, being like this. So it's just very shocking still, and very, very surreal.
Yeah, I've heard the word that continues to be used in the professional circles I'm in is unprecedented. It really is just an unprecedented time, something we haven't experienced before. And you're right, you know, whether or not, you know, inclement weather happens and we're out for a few days, you know, if there's some, you know, community or national tragedy, there might be a couple of days of grieving or, you know, that kind of thing. But never what we're experiencing right now.
And that,
go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I didn't mention it, but you just kind of triggered that thought. We all thought that. And so all of us left not taking anything with us. And so we're all at home like, okay, what can we do? What can we use? Because we thought we were going back to school on March 30th. And so, you know, we did not bother to take any of our resources or documents or anything with us. And so we're like, okay, what do we do? Because we can't go back into our schools to obtain anything.
Wow. So there's a whole lot being shared in the chat. A lot of parents here. There are some folks who have already begun expressing how they're feeling as a result as parents. Just the idea of trying to balance the telework, because everybody's working from home for the most part, constant meetings, and then trying to make sure that their children are engaged and working on something. And so I'm just going to express it from a parent's perspective, and I'm hopeful that I'll get some loves and some likes for, you know, speaking on behalf of the parents. I'm like you know, I'm not speaking for every parent, but and I'm probably channeling or embodying some of what some other folks feel, because I honestly have had the experience of homeschooling. So I'm not as lost as some folks might feel, but still trying to balance it all is rough. So as a parent, I am trying to make sure I'm working, right? And clocking in the hours that I need to clock in. And I have not, you know, had possibly any experience teaching myself. I don't have any resources at home that I'm aware of that are, you know, proven, tried and true resources to make sure that I'm using for my child. I don't know where to start. I don't know what's out there. And so there's so many more questions than there are answers. And I know that you all as a school system and as individual teachers have tried to provide some resources. And so let's get into that part of it. I know you mentioned, you know, you have a little bit to share about what you've been doing for your students and maybe some resources, and then I will follow up with that. So what resources have you been using? And I want to remind folks to send in your questions. What are your questions? If there are questions that we can't answer, we'll let you know. And all of this is just from our perspective anyway, right? But we do want to put those questions out there, because as a community, we might be able to help each other. So what have you been doing, Keah, to help your students? And then what do you kind of suggest for us as parents? Any tips you can give us?
Sure. So I'm a little different. My situation, I think, is a little bit unique in the sense that it's just me. And I say that to say I kind of just have a little more time than most teachers do. So, you know, parents, as you're trying to like navigate how you're going to do everything at home, you know, lots of teachers have the same, you know, issue at home. You know, they're taking care of their families and their little ones now. And so everybody doesn't necessarily have the time to put in, nor were we expected to during this time. But Curriculum and instruction is my thing, and that excites me. And since I am home alone, I needed to keep busy and active to, keep my spirits up. And so I have been emailing my parents since last Monday. They've received emails from me daily with suggested activities that their students can do. Since I am their teacher, I teach fourth grade, and I've taught fourth grade for years. There is quite a lot that I do happen to know off the top of my head just because I'm so familiar with the curriculum. And so what I did not want is for any student to be sitting home doing nothing. I want my students, I want for every student in the world to be still engaged in learning. And so obviously I'm not going to send, something that they don't know how to do or that they would struggle with, but I wanted to send them something that would give them recursive skills on this things that we've learned so far in fourth grade. And so again, this is off the top of my head. I don't have anything at home. I'm making things up. I know what I've taught all year. I know what they can do. I know the strategies that I've taught them and all of those skills that they should have. And so I've sent, again, suggested activities for things that just keep them engaged. I'm not grading anything when we're not allowed to. Yet at this point. But again, I just wanted to provide something, again, because parents would not know this, but I'm the expert, I'm the teacher. And so there were just some things, and I think I just probably sent something along the lines of maybe 8 to 10 math problems a day. Again, recursive skills, a reading activity with some, maybe perhaps vocabulary or figurative language, encouraging them to read. I know that they either have books at home or, perhaps you can access, something online to use or on a Kindle or, whatever the case may be. And I'm just giving them generic questions. So for example, if they've been reading a fiction book, I might say, okay, today we're going to focus on the character. Tell me about the main character. How would you describe them? Give them a character trait. Tell me the words, thoughts, and actions this character demonstrated in order for you to infer this character trait for them. Again, those are words and that's language that we've used in the classroom. So that's not new to the students. Again, parents don't necessarily know this, but again, me as the educator, this is who I am. This is me. And so it's very easy for me to give them some ideas that they can use to adapt with any book that they're reading. I have a set of, fiction questions. I have a set of nonfiction questions. Every day it's something different. Again, just to keep them engaged. Nothing that they should be struggling with right now, but something just to keep them engaged, because what you don't want to happen is when our babies do return to school, they've lost so much, right? You don't want them to, just become so far behind. So we have to keep going with what we have been doing. And so at this time, educators are definitely willing to share, and we're able to do it in different platforms, whether it's sharing some ideas and suggestions through social media, Twitter, Facebook, or I'm trying Zoom with my class now. Charles County has a program called Parent View or Synergy, where we're able to send mass emails. That's how I'm communicating every day. And what's happening in my class is that students are sending the work back to me. They're typing right on the documents that I created, just a Word document. I've said very specifically to parents, hey, this is just suggestions, just wanted to offer you some things that your child can do. And I said, you don't have to print it. I don't want anybody wasting ink and paper. You don't have to print it. Get a journal. They can write it in their journal. They can write it on a piece of paper, or they can type right into the document and email it back to me. Again, technology is embedded in schools now. So these kids are not that lost when it comes to using technology. They're going to be okay for the ones that have access to it. For the ones that don't, again, hopefully the parents are able to at least access the email and the information. Pencil and paper still works. They could take a picture of it, scan it, send it back to me. Again, I'm not grading anything, but I'm still providing feedback because this is just what I do.
Yeah.
So just still that engagement and that connection piece. If we don't have that, we're not going to be okay without that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I just want to echo what I heard you say, because the idea, parents, is just keep them engaged with doing something, right? Just something. And I want to make, I want to add to what you just said, because the truth of the matter, somebody's already said it in the chat here, is every educator is not as committed as you. I know that, what you said is, you have more, maybe perhaps more time, and that's maybe partially true, and that's commendable and all of that. But I think that as it relates to educators, I think some folks are giving what the county has passed on, and are doing no more than that, and some folks are reaching out.
And I want to preface too, Trinace, just to defend all of the teachers. We weren't supposed to, and we were not required to.
Sure.
I just happened to just have an abundance of resources just over the years from teaching the same grade over and over again. But and I can only speak specifically to Charles County. Beginning this Monday, March 30th, it will be expected for us to have a little more input. The county is going to put some things in place. Obviously, the days ahead now, beginning on Monday, are going to count as instructional days. So I would imagine it's probably the same in other counties and in other states. Even that's what's at least coming. But we just don't have the answers for exactly what that looks like as of yet.
Yeah. So thank you for that, because I do need to pause for the cause and just say, as an educator and celebrating you as an educator, kudos to our teachers, because, in a regular season, you are doing more work for less pay. You are going above and beyond for the most part. It's just in this unusual season, this abnormal season, your absence in our child's lives is so significant to us as parents, right? And so as it relates to just missing you, it just means so much when an educator like you finds a way to go above and beyond during this season. So I really, really appreciate you and all of our educators, everyone in the school systems, in whatever season, in whatever capacity they work, are really doing. I love teachers, because all of us, no matter, unless we dropped out in kindergarten, all of us have had to go through a teacher to get to where we are. And so we want to celebrate them. So now that we are, as parents, in this situation, Keah has said, look to your school system to see what resources have been provided. Pay attention to your emails in case your educators are reaching out, your children's teachers are reaching out to you with some resources. But then let's just say you're left to your own devices. What I heard you say is just keep them engaged in something. Make sure they're reading, make sure they're writing, make sure they're doing some math. Just to keep them engaged, and so that they don't lose it all when they come back, when we finally get back to a regular rhythm or a new normal. I want to add to the fact that we really did not want to have this session, this chat, without providing some resources. And we haven't created anything ourselves. We really just have compiled and collected some of the helpful resources. We really aren't, we aren't sponsors, and we don't have any sponsors or anything like that. We're not just saying these are the ones you should go to, definitely. But if you text Real Women to the number that's provided, 202-410-4202, we'll get your email address, and we will send you, just automatically, you'll get a link sent to you with a list of free resources. It's about 4 pages of resources. And I can tell you, as a parent, I have used a lot of what is being sent and compiled for you. And we've made sure that everything we sent you was a free resource, so that you wouldn't be asked to pay anything in this season for even what we're sending you. So all you have to do is text to Real Women. You will be giving your email address, but that's it. After you do that, you will get those free resources in a link sent to you automatically. And within those resources, things like there's a Facebook group that's been created called Surviving Homeschool. A lot of the homeschool groups that were in existence before now, they really are a bit more closed to the community that has always been and will always be homeschooling. But this particular one, Surviving Homeschool, is one that has been created specifically for this crazy season that we're in, where parents have to kind of pick up the weight of educating. And there are tons of those kinds of things. There are Khan Academy is one that's free of charge. There are tons of those, and they're free, and you can utilize them. The Good and the Beautiful is another one that's really good, a good resource. I don't want to name all of them. Go to the resource. But my point about that is there are places you can go, and you can find a composite of things that are already put together, so you don't have to create every individual resource. And the last thing I want to say about this before I ask you the next question, Keah, is there maybe you just are looking for spelling resources, or maybe you're just looking for, what was I looking for the other day? Geography, where you just want to make sure they know states and capitals or something like that. Just literally Google that in, y'all. Just Google it in, and make sure you put free beside it, or in front of it or behind it, and stuff will come up. And so don't get overwhelmed, I guess is what I'm saying. I really just want us to kind of breathe and know that it's possible to just keep them. I love what you said, keep them engaged and just kind of breathe through the whole thing.
Can I say, after what you're saying, Trinace, I don't want to spend too much time on it, and you know how I get. I'm not a parent, so I'm not going to pretend that I completely understand. I could understand if, you know, you're someone who just is unfamiliar about something, like how I am with technology. When you know, ask me to do stuff, I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know how. That kind of thing. But it's just not my thing. But I just want to say, for those of us that, you know, do kind of feel overwhelmed and we're struggling, just know all of us feel the same way. We're in this together. And what I love about the Real Women community, we always say this, most times, whatever you need is in the room, right? And so there are it's very likely that what you need is here within your community. So if you need help, if you need ideas, if whatever it is that you need, just ask. You know, it may not be that you can go to your child's teacher necessarily, but I guarantee that there's somebody within one of your circles that has something, you know, that you can use and adapt and adjust to what your child needs. But just reach out to educators in general. Tell them, hey, my child is in this grade and I want to work on this with them. What do you suggest? You know, can you show me some things that you have, and then maybe I can tweak it to fit our needs, or, you know, just whatever the case may be. So I just encourage the connection and the collaboration. That's what's going to be necessary for all of us, you know, during this time.
That is so good. And because you said that, anyone who is listening right now live, or who watches the recording, if you have resources, if you are aware of resources that would be really helpful to parents in this season, please put them in the chat, because as folks are watching, they may be able to access some of the resources that you're aware of just scrolling through the chat. Please put your resources in there. I see a couple already that have been put in there from the Smithsonian Learning Lab. A couple of others have been shared in here. Please make sure that you put some in here. Someone is asking for a Spanish site somewhere where you don't have to pay an arm and a leg. I know if you go through Val, one of the things, if you go through your library login, you can get Rosetta Stone as a free resource, and then Duolingo is another free resource for learning Spanish. But I do have a couple of other Facebook pages where they're doing some lives in this season to help you learn Spanish. And of course, YouTube does a world of good for a lot of that stuff. You can find the right page, the right channel in YouTube that'll take you through the whole learning Spanish curriculum. So another suggestion. Thank you for that. Okay.
Can I share one more thing?
Please jump in. That's what this is
the last thing, and then we're gonna move on, I promise.
Go ahead.
I want to go back to, what you were asking initially, like how do educators feel and, just how is it for us? I want to say, obviously, like I said, it's clearly not a welcome break at all. One of the things for me, obviously being away from my kids is heartbreaking, but another thing for me is this time is just so incredibly different from what we do in the classroom, right? We want our kids to still learn and be engaged, and we want them to still grow and have academic success. But this is the way that they have to do it now in this season is so different. Everything in my classroom, I'm a fourth grade teacher, so it's learning through discovery. It's learning through hands-on manipulatives and collaborative conversations and discussion and teamwork. But yet we've done that work for years, right? But now it's like, okay, we're kind of isolated now, right? Today I told you I had been sending work to my kids, or activities rather, to my kids, and one was about fractions. And the kids had to categorize fractions if they were exactly 1/2, less than 1/2, or greater than 1/2. Again, that's a review skill for us. And one of my students, their parents sent me a picture of the child using Easter eggs to figure out, about 1/2. And so I was so worried. I was like, my kids aren't going to have manipulatives in class. You see them using, cubes and all these different things, fraction bars and tiles and just different things, because that's what it looks like in the classroom. I'm saying, parents, talk to educators. Let us give you some ideas and share things that you can do so that students can still have the same type of experiences when possible, right? And somebody might not think of little things like that you can do. I guarantee you have things around the house that you can use to engage them more so. And I guarantee you put it in front of them, they are going to know what to do with it. Those kids they're going to come alive, and they're going to start, it's going to be like natural for them to adapt those skills and strategies that have been embedded in them for years. And parents, you're going to be able to stand back like, oh, okay, she looked like she got this. And it's just, it's going to work. It's going to come together, but we need to have the conversations and connect with each other so that we get these ideas.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. So a couple of things you made me think about. First of all of us know an educator, right? So like you said, reach out to somebody. I want to put a plug in for you just because, through your public Facebook pages, and if you have any other ways that you prefer people connect with you, that not only have you done, and I know, for the right whatever you have done tutoring, and so those kinds of things, we're doing this so that you verbalized your support of reaching out, and you're okay with someone reaching out to you, but I also want to echo what you just said about just the manipulatives and not being afraid to pull out something. Like literally, we've been dancing around the house. We've been using, timers where we, clock each other and doing stuff. Like we've been trying to find really fun, interesting ways, been going outside, playing catch and doing some spelling or math problems, trying to do it just while we're having some fun. And, it doesn't excite kids for some kids, it doesn't excite them to do learning, but when you add some activity or some like you said, manipulatives around it, it's not work anymore. It's fun. It's an activity. So don't feel like you have to be sitting in front of a book or writing on a sheet of paper with a paper and a pen. You don't have to have it. It doesn't have to look that traditional in order for learning to occur. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
So many resources have been shared in here. I don't see any questions yet. So, and we're closing down, but I do want any comments or questions that you all have to be shared in the chat. Let me see. I do see a couple of comments. Yes, this is uncharted territory, even for administrators. Thank you for bringing that up, Kay, because the idea of, principals and vice principals and all of the folks who are stakeholders in the school system have the district staff, everybody's been affected by this. This impromptu break has a lot of confusion on how to provide supports and plan accordingly. And so I just want to lift up a question that came up that I know we can't answer. You and I can't answer, Keah, but someone even asked, if, for example, Virginia and maybe other states will end up following suit. I hope ours does not. But for the states that are just shutting down for the rest of the school year, how they're going to handle promotion to the next grade, all those kinds of things. A school board member has been in here. Taj said that, those are the kinds of discussions that are happening on the school board level right now to deal with those. But those are really big questions. That example that this is unprecedented times that we're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so one more comment, Val says, I simply asked my son what sites they used at school. And when he showed me, the light clicked on for him. He's like, we use this all the time in class. So they actually know what resources they're already using. So that's very similar to what you said, Keah. You pull out some stuff and it'll click for them because they've been using them in class.
Yeah.
That's really good. I'd love to know for you what advice you have for us just in general. I mean, all of us just need to breathe, right? But do you have any advice for us in this season, just this year? Like, what is if you had some words of wisdom for us, what would they be?
Y'all know I have a lot.
Yay.
I'm going to try to keep it. I'm going to try to condense it. And again, this is just me. I'm just able to share, some of my personal opinions and beliefs right now. I think that one of the things that could be applicable to any situation is that your words definitely have power. And it kind of dictates how you feel and how, just how you believe as well. And so there are usually a lot of different ways that we can look at a situation, right? We've heard of, is the glass half empty? Is it half full, right? And so we can all certainly agree that this is not what anybody wants under any circumstances. Yes, we would all love more family time and, getting closer with our families and our children and building those relationships. But we want them to be in school, right? We want to figure that out a different way. We want them to be in school for so many different reasons. So no one wants this, but this is where we are, right? And there's not anything that we can do about it. This is where we are. And so we have perspective in front of us and how we choose to view the situation as a whole. And I just want to share a couple of things. My principal shared this earlier, and it'll just take me a minute. Imagine in 2030, a college student here's, in history class, we learned about the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. That was so bad. And somebody asked them, what was that like? And from a parent's perspective, for us as adults, and teachers might even say, oh my gosh, everything was shut down. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. And it lasted longer than expected. And, grocery stores were out of stock. It was just crazy. It was just crazy, chaotic. It was confusion. It was scary, all that, right? From our perspectives as adults. But what if that college kid, the kid who would now be about, 10 or whatever, what if they said, oh, all I remember was school closing, but I was at home and I remember doing scavenger hunts in our yard. I remember eating meals together as a family. I remember going to sleep, later, and I wasn't tired in school, but during the day I had the energy to learn because I was able to get more rest. And I just remember spending quality time. I remember watching church online as a family. And honestly, it was a happy time in my childhood. We created great memories, right? Wow. So that's all we can focus on. It's perspective. Yes. Nobody wants this, but how we think about the situation and what we do with it, that is up to us. And I want to just share, this will be my last thing, something that gives me peace.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for just the opportunity to let me do this and just share my heart.
Mm-hmm.
This is my 10th year as an educator. And I went into this year being intentional about celebrating, because I've seen my journey as a teacher. I've seen my journey in college. I was in college for 10 years in undergrad. And I didn't know that I would make it to be a teacher, but that was my dream. And I finally made it. And then year after year after year, you get this group of kids. You never know what is walking into your classroom, right? You're given this curriculum. You're told, hey, this is what you have to teach. These are the standards, and this is where they got to be. They're all in different places. It's about 30 of them. It's one of you. Here, this is what you do, right? And you're like, okay, this child reading over here and they on this level, and this isn't tough enough for them. I got to challenge them. But yet this child is way down here. They're, grade levels behind, and they're bored, and they can't catch, like it's so much. And you don't know, right? Year after year, you don't know. Well, this year's no different. But I vowed I was going to celebrate, because this was my 10th year. And so I've said all this whole school year, I'm celebrating year 10. I'm celebrating year 10. On that Thursday, when we got that message, I was like, oh, the party. I can either say the party is over or nah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So for me, I feel like the party's not over. We switched locations. You know what I'm saying? And so it is my choice now what I do from this moment. I am given a curriculum, and what gives me peace about this, because let me tell you, anxiety is real, stress is real. Don't think I'm sitting at home chilling. I want to be with my kids. I want to go to work so bad. But what gives me peace is that if you ask my students 10 years from now, what do you remember about 4th grade? They will probably say, oh, I remember being out of school for a month. But they're also going to say, I remember what my teacher, did. I remember we had a Black History Museum, and I got to present Maya Angelou, and I was a statue. And then when they came in and pressed the button, when the parents came in, I came to life and was giving my little speech about Maya Angelou, or Muhammad Ali, or whoever. I remember when we read this book, Pink and Say, and we chose to honor one of the characters, and we had we made a play about him. We had a party. We had food. We dressed up. We all wore pink and had a pink party. They're going to remember those things too. So yes, they're going to remember that they stayed home for a month and that it was a little scary. But I pray to God, and I know that this is true because they still tell me, they're going to remember other things we did during this school year as well, right? Yes. And those memories that they made when they were with me from September until March, whatever it was, before this, it does not stop there. They also won't remember, but you know what? I know after March, we were at home for a little while, and Miss Mason was doing Zoom, and we had a book discussion, and we were talking, and everybody had their little headphones on, and we could see each other, and we were having a discussion just like we did in class. So the memories, the party, the celebrating year 10, it does not stop. So we're anxious, we feel a lot. Let's get that out. Find somebody to process through those things with. But at the end of the day, the memories and the good times and the good vibes do not have to stop because of this.
Girl. So you have so many amens. You got to go back and just read and just see the amens, because
I will. I can't see the comments because I want to pull stuff up.
Yep, go back afterward, because that was so good, Keah. I'm going to just tell you how many levels it was good on. It was good because, first of all, our educators need to celebrate themselves. We, as educators, we don't get enough pats on the back. You don't get enough pats on the back. And so for you to endeavor to celebrate all year long, your 10th year should not stop. The COVID shouldn't stop any of that. And it's a bigger lesson to let an educator know that no matter what is happening in your life, celebrate the fact that your contribution contribution to our children and our society is priceless and endless. It does not stop after your school year ends. It doesn't stop when there's an interruption in your school year. That is freaking amazing that you can have that perspective and not allow this interruption or this interjection to disrupt your celebration. I am so appreciative that you shared that perspective, and because it lets us know, even if we're not educators, like you said, we got some stuff to process because this is hard, this is different, this is unprecedented. But whether you're an educator or not, process it, be honest about how you're feeling, but don't stay stuck there. Like, there's a reason for this, and there's a reason for it, and there's a season for it. It will be over. This too shall pass. And when it's over, how will we remember it, and how will we have lived it out? I am so appreciative for all of the perspective that you just gave. And that 2030, 2020 perspective, man, that was so good. So thank you for all of that. Every administrator, every educator should see this. We know that we spent the first half of this sharing resources and just processing how we see this and perceive this as an educator and as a parent, but you have got to, every last one of you who have watched in the latter half of this, you've got to share it with somebody so that they can gain this perspective that how are we going to look at this in this season? How are we going to look at this? How 10 years from now, 5 years from now, and how will we have spent this time when we're looking back on it? Thank you so much for that. This was so good. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share before I close us down, but this has been totally worth the almost hour that we spent. Anything else you want to share with us before we go?
No, I just thank everybody again for tuning in. Continue to share this video and please reach out. For educators and parents, reach out. Let's work together. We're in this together, and let's just reach out to each other for assistance and to share ideas.
Absolutely. So hopefully you have gotten a ton of information in this last hour. There are about 4 pages of free resources that are available to you if you just text the words Real Women to the number that's provided, 202-410-4202. You text Real Women to that number, and we will send you a link that will provide you 4 pages of resources. They are all free resources. There are tons of other resources that are available to you, but we wanted, in providing this session to you, we wanted to provide you something that you could walk away with and literally use from this, in addition to this very productive, fruitful conversation we've just had. And so I'm so grateful and thankful to you, Keah. You have shared not only your personal, but I'm sure so many educators can relate, your personal perspective on this season and this transition, how you're helping your kids, and then how we as parents can really just breathe through this season and know that as long as we're keeping our kids engaged in something and allowing them to have a little fun with it and spending some time with them, that they will remember it again. Again, the number is at the top of the heading for this video, but I'm sharing it again. It's 202-410-4202. And you just text Real Women to 202-410-4202. Thank you all so much. This has been our Wednesday night Facebook Live for Real Women. We will be back next Wednesday night with another woman so that we can give you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. You can go to our website for all of our virtual sister circles that are happening for March and April. You go to realwomenrock.org. We are here to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. We thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you, Keah.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.